I was just thinking about this video that Luddite Romantic made about suicide. I think it was about suicide. Yeah, suicide. Why don't we all kill ourselves? Great idea, I guess, kind of. Some really interesting things in there, and it kind of tied in tangentially to some of the questions that To Be Serious seems to be hovering around, to do with the implications of a certain reading of negative utilitarianism, where if the world's that bad, why don't we just end it all collectively? You know, either so it's about individual suicide or about collective human suicide. If life is bad, why aren't we doing that? Yeah, the quotation I really liked on the Luddite Romantic video was this thing that, I don't know, it's probably not true, but I liked it anyway. It was something like, you know, that suicide is the response an optimist makes when their optimism is seen to be unjustified. That's not exactly it, but that was the sense of it. It's a response an optimist makes when their optimism is thwarted. So you think the world's a good place, on some level, even if you're grumbling on the outside, on some level you think the world's a good place, and then you just find it isn't, so you jump off a building or you put your head on the railway lines. Sorry, I watched Inception, so those are the suicidal methods which is at the top of my head right now. Where for a pessimist or a realist, I guess, something like that, there is no surprise. You just, you're cast into a world that's already shit. So there's no surprises there. It's part of the course. So yeah. So that's the first thing. The second thing is this, I guess, connected thing. Is that, why don't we all commit suicide? I don't know really. I mean, I can only speak individually about my response to the world, which I guess is the personalist political thing. Because I do absolutely feel those things. I mean, I can see the rational arguments. I can see the arguments that's made for negative utilitarianism, particularly that, if there was a counting system for counting up the amount of pleasures and counting up the amount of pains, if it was possible to do that, I don't think I might be wrong, but I don't think it would come out with more pleasure than pain. I think that's highly unlikely. And as Gary rightly pointed out, the pleasures are there to provide us with the incentive to go on. What we didn't point out, of course, is that the pains exactly serve the same purpose. But either way, on the balance sheet, the income and outcome columns would probably not match. So again, why go on? That's the kind of question, isn't it? Why collectively do we decide to continue? Yeah, my own take on that is, yes, I recognise that, kind of objectively, kind of. But on a felt level, on the day-to-day experience level, I know I keep coming back to feeling, and that probably sounds terribly inchoate and vague, but I do think, it is an integral part of logical thinking, being kind of, I think, at least being aware of how those currents run through your thoughts. So I'm trying to stay with that. But on a day-to-day level, I am aware that sometimes that sense of, and the implications of that negative accountancy, I feel it very strongly. You know what I mean? And I do the thing that Gary articulates so well, which is, look around in nature like this, and I absolutely do occasionally see it as a consuming machine. You know what I mean? And on those days, I see bugs eating other bugs, and I see trees shading other trees and then falling and dying as a result, and I can almost feel the small insects being crushed under my feet as I walk, and the small frogs, because this little place is full of little tiny frogs. I do absolutely have days like that, and of course I have days the other way around where this is just blissful. I look around it and it's just glowing, and it's like walking through diamonds and emeralds, and it's absolutely fantastic. So I suppose I could count up the good days against the bad days and make a personal balance sheet, but it seems a bit pointless. But I suppose for me, recognising that those things are sweeping through me like the weather gives me at least some kind of a distance on it sometimes. It's not purely personally. The reason why I would not press the button on the human race, or on myself really, apart from the reasons I've already mentioned in relation to optimism and pessimism, the reason why I wouldn't push the button is because I'm just seeing it as kind of weather, Yeah, just weather really. and I wouldn't want to, and even if the balance sheet was massively in favour of the negative. Well, you know, well, sometimes climate's like that. You know, there are parts of the world where it rains 90% of the time. Manchester probably is one of them, or the rainforest. And we're all stuck here in the rainforest without a hat, or stuck here in Manchester without a hat, which is even worse. And just get on with it, really. I mean, that's not a very philosophical thing to say, just get on with it. But at least recognising it as a kind of weather system, kind of, gives me at least the distance that I need not to feel completely wedded to the balance sheet and driven henceforth towards the big red button. Actually, the big red button back of this camera, I'm going to press it now.